Well, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I'm your host, Alvin King, and welcome to our Friday, August the 11th show, Let's Get Newsy 12. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been so much in the news. I'm telling you, we have been sitting on some information and we're going to give it to you tonight. Hopefully, you guys have had a great week. Last week, first of all, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, this is not in the script, but something just came up on my phone and I have to read it to you. Here in Washington, D.C., Judge Tanya Chukin, I think that's the judge's name, issued a protective order barring Trump from publicly disclosing sensitive information, including witness interviews that's turned over as part of the 2020 election interference case. In the first hearing before the judge today, she noted that while Trump's rights as a criminal defendant would be protected, his First Amendment right to free speech was not absolute, which means that he needs to shut his mouth. I don't know about you all, but that's a victory for me, okay? Because I'm waiting for him to go down. So anything that happens to prevent him from doing anything more crazier than what he's done, I'm all for it. Okay, let me get back into the show. Again, welcome to our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Can you all believe that a whole year has passed and this day last year, monkeypox was on the rise, ladies and gentlemen? I don't mean to bring back something that's really crazy, but last year when we were right in the middle of getting over COVID, something else came and it was monkeypox. A whole year has passed, and thank God it didn't stick around long. We did what we needed to do. It was one of those epidemics, again, that just came on and we just took care of it. And as I talk about monkeypox a year ago, again, COVID is on the rise, ladies and gentlemen, and it is spreading. Last week, I was on the show, to be honest with you, and I was just getting over COVID from going to a tennis match. So I'm telling you, it is alive and it is well, and you guys need to really take care of yourself. And I even talked to some folks that went to the Beyonce concert on Sunday, and it rained and it was crazy, and they all had to shuttle underneath all of the, inside of the stadium. A few of them have gotten COVID also. So please take care. Again, COVID is on the rise. Also, for you guys who are into getting rid of your cable, like I just recently did, Disney and Hulu on October 12th, their ad-free version of Disney Plus will actually increase from $10.99 to $13.99, and Hulu will jump from $14.99 to $17.99, ladies and gentlemen. Look, if you got cable, I'm telling you, you need to get rid of cable and start doing some streaming, because all these streaming services are they're about to get off the chain, okay? And while we're talking about streaming, I need all of you to go to wherever you need to do any type of social media searches or whatever, because today is 50 years of hip hop, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And in 1973, a young, innovative DJ rocked a modest party for fellow teenagers in a small community room in the Bronx. His name is Kool Herc, and he is considered the father and the originator of hip hop, ladies and gentlemen. So please, I grew up doing hip hop, but I was more of the disco guy. I was going up to the clubs in New York and all the Studio 54. So hip hop, it was there, but I kind of went over it. But hip hop did influence a lot of cultures. I mean, even though I wasn't in the hip hop culture, I was still wearing the baggy pants, and I was still doing what my version of breakdancing. When I would go to the clubs that I was going to. And I have one question, because I know we got to keep moving. But for those of you who are watching, can you tell me if hip hop started the term ghetto fabulous? I don't know. I honestly don't know that. So if you guys can go in the chat, let me know, because I don't know that. And last, before I leave, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to everybody who's going out to eat these days, because I don't know if you've noticed, but they are putting some hidden charges on your receipts. Okay, I mean, little teeny tiny charges. Now, I know the minimum wage has increased for workers, at least here in DC, and I'm proud of that. Thank you. I'm so glad. I'm glad you all are getting paid more. But I guess due to inflation from 21 and 22, they're putting like little fees on your receipts because they didn't want to increase the price for food. So please be careful. I know all of you have been looking at whether or not, they took out gratuity, but there's some other little hidden charges and features on it that you all need to look at. All right. So look, that's my spiel for today. Thank you for tuning in. And if we can, let's get on with the chat. Lord, I guess y'all was saying, if this man don't hurry up and get us up in here.
I was like, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. In fact, Judy came on and was like, I hope y'all are going to talk about the brawl. And Judy, how could we not be talking about the brawl?
Judy,
come on.
Hey guys,
we've been brawled.
How y'all doing?
What's up? TGIF.
Hey guys. Hey, I'm glad I'm here. Last week was rough, but I am here. Okay.
Yeah, and you were suffering, and we were and you were like saying, I hope I haven't caught a cold or so forth, but COVID got a hold of you, huh?
Got a hold of me, but like my hair, I shook it off. Okay.
Oh.
Shook it off.
Oh wow.
Thank you, Taylor Swift.
Hey Monica. Hey Julie. Hey George.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, but you guys have a good week. You guys have a good week.
I had a good week. Thank you very much. Yeah. And you? I know you were on the road to recovery.
I did. Like I said, I shook it off, and I'm back in business. I got a busy weekend, but I'm just going to say thank God I didn't have a ticket for Beyonce. I decided not to go see the show this year because I've seen her so many times. And I was like, let this generation go see her, because I would have had somebody design me a plastic suit with straws sticking out my nose.
Oh, wow.
If I had a ticket, because that $1,000 ticket was not going to go to waste.
Going to go to waste. Wow.
Seriously. It was not. But I'm glad I didn't buy it.
You had a good week, Vash?
I did. It went by really, really quickly, but it has proven to be a good week all in all. Really magical things have happened this week, so I'm very excited.
Amen. Amen.
Hey, well, speaking of magic, baby, we cannot deny Simone Biles, she has returned to the gymnastic floor.
Come on.
Yes, the proverbial
married woman now
of the U.S. gymnastics is officially back. She competed in every competition that they had at that competition, and unlike her other competitors who have competed with her, before, she walked away with an all-around score of 59.10.
Wow.
Which was 5 points clear of her runner-up, Lean Wong, and more than 2 points higher than the total with Brazil's Rebecca Andrade, who claimed the 2022 World Championship.
Wow.
Okay.
So you're saying she's back?
I'm saying she's back. She's bad. Okay, bad.
And this big.
That diamond that she is wearing is helping her with her spinning. Her flipping rotations.
Nothing like love. Nothing like good love.
Exactly.
Come on, put a ring on it.
I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy for her.
Yeah.
What did you say here?
We're being told, Andre Harrell of Uptown Records coined the term ghetto fabulous, but I think it referred to women like Little Kim and Mary J. Blige, says Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
And Andre Harrell, may he rest in peace.
Thank you. Okay, Judy, and that came out of nowhere for me, because I was like, where did Ghetto Fabulous come from? So,
and they are the queens of it. They were,
Okay.
We've seen it being taken to the extreme now.
Well,
but they got it. Well, let's talk about Ghetto Fabulous with regards to sharks attacking people.
They are being ghetto unfabulous. They are just out of control. These sharks.
They're just like, look, water is getting warmer. We got to do something. So as of today, New York City's Rockaway Beach has reopened after the first shark attack in New York City on a New York City beach since 1953.
Okay, look at this image of these people looking like they're in the shark, like they're in Jaws right now. Look at them run.
I mean, like it
All right,
totally
Norman.
is as if there was going to be like free hot dogs and lemonade on the boardwalk.
I'm like, I'm not sure if this is actual footage or just an image of people who hear the ice cream truck.
I'm
You know how we act when we hear that bell.
No, you did look like they were running for hot dogs.
Yes, exactly. They're like, what, there's a sale?
Oh my God.
So Tatiana Koltuniuk was standing in the water around 6 o'clock on Monday when she felt a strong, sharp pain in her lower left leg, which caused her to fall backwards. Turned out that she had been pulled from the water by lifeguards to realize that she had been bitten by a shark and had lost a significant amount of flesh.
Wow.
They gave her some medical treatment on the beach, and then they took her to Jamaica Hospital. They aren't sure whether it was a tiger shark or a great white shark baby that attacked her, but they're taking no precautions. Wow. She is recovering in the hospital from her injuries, and today and throughout the rest of the swim season, they are using drones so they can do a nice sweep of the beach to see if there's any unwanted marine life trying to keep people safe. So be careful out there in the water.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I can't even imagine getting in the water and being bit by a jellyfish, let alone a darn shark.
Can you
imagine? Sightings up north, up in New England, around the Vineyard as well. They've been reporting some shark sightings as well. Yeah.
The water is so warm down south that the more comfortable waters are up north. I have a feeling the other strange things with marine life as things continue over there.
I'm just sick of them saying what sharks will and will not do. Okay, because they got teeth. Okay, and they get hungry.
Yeah, it's kind of like. Go ahead. No,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's like when you go to someone's house and they have a dog and they go, "Oh, don't worry, he won't bite," and you're like, "Right, got teeth."
Exactly.
Well, one of the things that they were saying was that there was a school of fish that sharks typically will eat that were around the time that this woman got bit. Still, sharks typically don't like to eat people because we don't taste very good. But all it takes is one nibble.
For yourself.
Okay. I was going to say.
Yeah.
You guys are delicious.
I wasn't going to say anything, but since you were so definitive, like people don't taste good, I'm like,
okay,
all right. I don't know how Philly roll, but in DC,
we taste like cheesesteaks, which is
wow. Well, there's a lot that has been going on up in New York. In addition to the shark bites, we reported last week on the stabbing and ultimate death of O'Shea Sibley. Mr. Sibley's funeral services were this past Tuesday. They were streamed live. I did have an opportunity to watch for a bit. It was very emotional, as one might imagine, as we laid to rest and honored the life of O'Shea Sibley, who was stabbed, as we spoke about last week at the service station, as he was a dancer and was dancing to Beyonce music. The gentleman that is the suspect in the stabbing has been arrested and charged, and we just await to hear how that all turns out. But we speak O'Shea Sibley's name in remembrance.
Do you know if they're charging the person who killed him as a juvenile?
I believe not. I believe that the last reading that I read a while back was that he was, in fact, going to be charged as an adult. Okay.
All right. I hope so. Hey,
how
David.
old is he?
I thought he was 17. They said that's why I asked. That's why I asked. I heard he was 17. Hey, Sean. I heard that he was, so I didn't know how they were going to try him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are moving forward with it as a hate crime, yes?
I believe so, yes.
I believe so, yes.
Yep.
In this case, yes.
More should be revealed.
Yes.
Well,
we'll stay abreast of it. Yes.
Yeah. And the services, I saw some of the footage of, some of the rallies that people were having at the location, and it was quite impressive.
Yes.
People coming out and chanting O'Shea
and dancing.
Mhm.
Given
And
that's what took his life, they've danced for him.
and Philadelphia set up a scholarship in his name, which I thought was Philadelphia Dance Company,
Mhm.
which
Oh,
I
wow.
thought was magnificent. So
Yeah. Yep.
so I like Philadelphia. So and I followed them, and I saw that they did that. So kudos to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They moved very quickly on that.
And I also understand that at several concerts, Beyonce actually paused and cited his name, spoke his name,
Mhm.
and remembered him as he was dancing to her music when he was stabbed. So,
Right. Well, as the shirt says, racism isn't getting worse; it's getting filled. And we caught that. We caught it. That's why that guy is in jail.
yep,
Okay,
absolutely.
so that's what we're saying. All right, guys. Well, speaking of, hate, some of it, it was on. And we're talking about filming it.
Yep.
We're going to take you all to Alabama right now.
There you go, Judy. There you go.
And last Saturday, we're not going to show you all the video clips and all the
Because we
meetings
sure
that
you've
you have
seen
been,
them.
because you've seen them all. Okay, but we just want to talk, about the brawl that happened last Saturday in Alabama when a group of white men actually beat up a worker at a dock whereas he asked them to move their boat so that the boat that should have come into the dock could come into the dock, and instead of them moving their boat, they used or wanted to use their privilege to beat up the man. But little did they know that when they did that, the tides were going to change. And I mean, we had on the video, you guys saw it, we saw Black people come from everywhere. They even came across the water, in the water.
Never
Okay.
underestimate the power of a thrown hat, is what I'm going to say to you.
Who knew?
Who?
The hat went up and the signal was out.
And I'm gonna tell you, when the hat went up, I didn't know what that was about. What was that about?
I don't think any of us did. The way that it's filmed, it almost looks like that's now like the signal, like I need help, because when the hat went up, people came.
Well, the other good part is that 3 of the 4 people, these are 3 of the 4 men who have been arrested for starting the brawl. And there's a woman, actually, one woman, and her name, actually, I got her name right before I came on. Well, their names, actually, I want to say their names. Richard Roberts, who's 48. He was charged with 2 counts of 3rd-degree assault. And Alan Todd, 23, and Zachary Shipman, 25, who face a count each of 3rd-degree assault, according to the Montgomery Police Chief, Daryl Albert. And yesterday, a woman by the name of Mary Todd, who's 21, has been charged with 3rd-degree assault and was being held in Montgomery as well. And I was telling Vash and Boddie before we came on, they're not calling this a hate crime. And yet. They're not calling it a hate crime yet. And I don't know. It looked like a hate crime to me, but I know hate crimes there's a lot that goes into calling something a hate crime. I know that. But for me, it looked like a hate crime. And from what things and what I heard and from the videos and all that, it just looks like a hate crime to me.
Well, just to give you the definition of what a hate crime is, and there are many nuanced ones, but a hate crime is a crime that is motivated in whole or substantially part by bias against certain personal characteristics. Now, we do know that, most people believe, after witnessing the lead up to the melee, that the actions of the white boat owners and their posse, it was definitely racially motivated, but to say that it was a hate crime is just a different level of, how do you say, influence of race and hatred in that experience. It was definitely racially motivated.
I think it's a very subtle, as you're saying, the difference in the sense of, did those people come out there in that boat with the intention to engage or assault a Black man? And and arguably that was not their intent initially. Obviously, the racial slurs that they used were, made it certainly a racial incident. One could argue that they may have responded. I mean, because my understanding is they were 3 sheets to the wind and being told to move. And so one might argue that they might have responded that way to anybody who was really trying to keep them from moving the boat. But they're then using the racial slurs certainly makes it a racial incident. Right. And then it's then coupled with what seemed to be a racial melee, because as they were all attacking him, there were Black people. Like, I don't think, from what I've seen, I've seen many versions of the video, I don't know if any white person came to his rescue. Everybody that I saw come to his rescue was African American, or at least a person of color.
One person. Right.
There was one
person. Okay. His co-worker.
Okay.
His co-worker at the beginning of when the first Black guy came off of down the ramp. There was a white guy to the right, a co-worker that they pushed out of the way.
Okay.
Yes, he's in the video. And Rudy had said something before this came up, because this is a link. He said grassroots law posted PD charged hate crimes. Stay tuned.
Okay. They can try to charge it, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, it was inspiring to watch. It was like, because we were all riveted watching the lead up to what happened, and then to watch it happen, and then to still be so powerless until that boat pulled in. Because there were still people coming down and helping out and fighting and stuff. But it definitely went into overdrive once that boat came in. And those guys started skipping down to the other boat.
Yeah. And again, they started skipping. That was it.
Some of the commentary, leading or after that happened, some things that just came to light for me. Like they said, when Black men start skipping towards you, and I was like, wait a minute. They said it's not good, so it was things like that made it interesting. One of our viewers, Rodney, texted me when all the videos were going. He said, "Should I be happy about this?" I said, "I am."
What were you happy about?
I was happy to see that that they came to his rescue. That all these Black people came to his rescue. I was because he was so he was taken by all of them. He was clearly they clearly had him. There was nothing he could do. And so to see all these Black people coming toward him, it was like, oh my God, it brought me so much joy.
Well, and everything happens in context too. And we cannot lose sight of the fact that Alabama has a horrific history around racism. Yeah. Like they just have a really, really, really bad history around it. Selma, like the list is, it's just Montgomery. Like it just, their history around it is wrong. And it just feels like these people felt they could just do whatever they wanted to him because he was insignificant. And to literally see people step up and say no. I don't know if I was happy about it. I certainly felt a sense of resolution that they were getting what they should have gotten. But what did make me laugh, and I'm going to own this because it's true and I've shared with you all, when that chick gets tossed into the water, like a little rag doll, because she was just like, and they were like, no.
I was very happy that, especially after this Jason Aldean song about trying in a small town, I was so very happy that what we saw was a group of white people attack a Black man who was doing his job.
Just doing his
job, them being vicious, jumping him, and attacking him. The woman that they arrested, you can see her kick him. Like I wondered, like, why are they attacking the woman in the blue? But she kicked him when he was down. It's like you got to watch this mob, and it's very difficult for the mainstream press and Fox News and those people to spin it because everyone watched these people beat this man.
For doing his job.
for doing his job.
For doing his
all
job.
this stuff about tried in a small town and we're the victims and there's so much crime coming against us. We got to watch these people be the perpetrators.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Right.
That was very gratifying and very timely.
There he is. Rodney, welcome to the
Hey,
show.
Rodney.
Derwin, welcome to the show. Shannon, welcome to the show. Rudy, you're giving me life.
And it seems that most of the people who are watching certainly found some sense of gratification in seeing them be responded to.
Absolutely. Like every time I watch it, I focus in on a different person.
Yeah.
So I can watch their journey. Like I can't wait till this becomes a Broadway musical. And you get to just see it all with fabulous dance numbers and fight choreography because it is brilliant. It is brilliant.
Okay. So, All right. So what else is happening in the news? Okay.
We are missing 51 folding chairs from the fellowship hall. Please return them ASAP. Faster.
Absolutely. I think
51 chairs, people.
I'm going to go as a folding chair for Halloween this year.
Yeah. Okay.
I really want to have one at least around my neck, so people go like
little earrings.
Well, I don't think it'd be original. Okay, but whatever works.
It's gonna be popular.
Right. Okay. Well, let's get on. Okay.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna walk down the hall with a folding chair. I love it.
We will be on this brawl forever. Okay.
We're gonna come back to it because I still have stuff to say.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Oh Lord.
So what else is going on, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh my goodness. In Minnesota, Minneapolis, a conviction. We had Tu Tao, who was one of the Minneapolis police officers who held back a crowd of bystanders while Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd on television in 2020. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, he was sentenced to 4 years and 9 months in prison on Monday for aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Good. I was happy to see that it happened. Mm-hmm. I watched I watched the court case. I watched him. He spoke, and basically he said he still feels that he's innocent, that he was doing his job, and I just found that to be disturbing, and I wish that they had gave him 4 more years for just saying that.
Yeah, again, there are people who argued that, that he, as a person of color, was he actually acting in a racist way and so forth. And what I'm convinced of is that policing in America is racist. Like it's rooted in a racist culture. And whether or not you are a person of color or not, you can still be a part of a culture that responds differently to people based upon their race. And that is what we know to be true. And all the statistics in the world support it. Every investigation after a police department or division around the country gets investigated. It is consistent that there's documentation that the system, the culture, is one that responds differently to people. And his standing there and pretending like nothing was going on, I think makes him culpable as well. I agree with you.
Well, him talking about he was a human shield, as Rudy pointed out, he said that he was a human barricade. No.
To racism.
To racism.
To murder.
No one was actually trying to come up. I mean, if you go back and look at that, people were actually standing on the sidewalk or whatever, screaming, "You're killing him!
Absolutely,
you're killing him!"
Absolutely. And once again, had it not been for that young teenage girl who pulled out her phone and provided us with the documentation of almost over 9 minutes of ending that man's life.
Yeah,
good for him. Put him in a cage next to Chauvin.
No, I think they should be separated so that they do not have any backup, and just let the prison system handle them and deal with them. That cops are supposed to protect and serve, and what they were doing was protecting themselves. And I'm glad that he got convicted.
And we speak your name, George Floyd.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we do.
Much happening in the news as we were talking in the state of Ohio. So the Ohio voters voted and they used their voices this most recent. They had a special election. And it appears that the Republicans there decided that there was going to be an amendment that could possibly be put to vote that would protect abortion rights. And so the Republican Party decided to put on this particular ballot of this special election the option of changing what the percentage that you would need in order to change the state constitution. So whereas a majority was the norm up to this point, they wanted to create a 60% requirement in order for a change to be made within the state constitution. Of course, thinking that it was going to make it more difficult for this protection of abortion rights. But the Ohio voters came out and they spoke and they rejected it.
Yes, absolutely.
So it was an important move. But it also speaks to the vulnerability of abortion and reproductive rights across the country. Do you know? Go ahead. I was just going to say, do you know that the impact already since Roe versus Wade decision has been harmful for women across the country, whether they're seeking abortions or not? There are doctors who, because of most recent legislation, have literally left states. There are women who are, for instance, pregnant, who don't even have gynecologists in their area where they are. They have to travel hours to get to hospitals because of some of the most recent legislation that has been passed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's shameful.
Yeah. It also highlighted how really delicate our democracy is and how much it is under attack by people who want to hoodwink other people into giving away their rights so that they can control what is going on in the rest of the world. Like we have to stay vigilant in terms of the issues, getting out to vote, and making sure that the issues stay at the forefront and that we protect all people, because this is totally ridiculous what they're trying to do. It's like gerrymandering, but with constitutions and percentages to get votes. It's just
the vote has never been more important. We must all encourage our friends, those that we know, to be registered, encourage people to get out. We cannot exist in a society where we think that our single vote does not count. And we have to be aware that in addition to just it normally being of significance and counting, there is legislation on these ballots to make it even more difficult for you to be able to vote in terms of restrictions that let's not forget, in Georgia, you can go to jail for handing someone water in the heat of Georgia if they're standing in line to vote.
That is pass that? Is that legal?
You cannot hand a person water.
I know they talked about it last year. Was it during the last election or whatever? But I didn't know that. Oh my God, it's law.
It's law.
It's law.
Wow.
So the effort to make it more difficult to vote, to discourage you even from voting, is very real. And so it is really important. I'm telling you, if you are part of Bobby Edwards Village, don't come my way talking about you not voting. Oh, we are not feeling that ignorance.
Oh, I got rid of them, and they know who they are. I got rid of them last 2 years ago.
I'm like, bounce. We're not doing that.
We're not even. I don't even want to hear that. Well, we're gonna keep it in the court, okay? Since we're right here, and I need to talk about one of my good friends. For those of you who don't know, Special Counsel Jack Smith. Yes. He re-entered the public eye on Tuesday, August 1st, with the grand jury's indictment of Donald Trump over his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election leading up to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Again, my new friend Jack, I call him my new Kiki on the down low.
As Wendy says, he's your friend in your head.
He's my friend in my head. Okay,
there you go.
Gotcha. He announced this week that he had a secret memo that laid out the strategy of Trump to overturn Biden's win. and a friend of Trump by the name of what is his name? One of his good friends named Kenneth Chasbro. Kenneth Chasbro was a key person on this memo, and he basically told Trump, in the memo, that there are two ways that we can do this. And
Rudy says they're receipts.
I know, but he's cracking me up in this
Receipts.
chat.
He's like receipts.
he said right. He said that there are two ways that he could do this, and one of them, he said, if we did this, it would focus attention on claims of voter fraud and buy Trump's campaign more time to win litigation that would deprive Biden of electoral votes and or add Trump's column. And the memo had been a missing piece in the public's record of how Trump allies developed their strategy to overturn Biden's victory. And number two, in mid-December, the memo alleged that basically said that the false Trump electors could go through the motions of voting as if they had the authority to do so. Then on January 6, 2021, Mike Pence could unilaterally count those slate of votes rather than the official certified ones for President Biden. They had a memo that outlined, he has a memo of Trump's friend and Trump getting together to do this. What more evidence do we need to convict this man?
Look, it's going to still take a lot because we're not just trying him in the courts and under the rule of law. It's still public opinion and them fighting against the crazies that still support Trump. I mean, so it's going to take a lot.
It really is. And this whole notion that, he and others who support him seem to really continue to function under this, but as president, I love when I'm hearing these journalists say, this is completely unprecedented that, that a sitting president or a former president would be indicted in this way or accused of it. And I'm like, but we've never had a president do what he's done.
Exactly.
He is not above the law.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've not had presidents who've supported an insurrection.
Ever. And I checked, and President Obama didn't hire one lawyer in 8 years.
Right. He didn't need to. He wasn't doing anything such as
he did wear that tan suit. I don't know what you all are thinking.
Oh, come on. With the swag he has, he
wore the tan suit and people went crazy. That's what they were. Remember? Michelle Obama's, her portrait, no sleeves. Remember?
Right.
Remember that stuff they were getting?
Exactly.
They were like, she does not understand.
Yeah, the double standard for that is just, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Rudy said, say it, forget it, write it, regret it.
Big dummy.
Exactly. I am amazed at how much documentation was created around this, knowing that all presidential documents and all, you can't destroy anything. I mean, it's a felony.
But Vash, you are assuming he has an understanding of the role that he had and the significance of that information. Like, he's an idiot. He wasn't thinking about anything. Like, he thought, you remember he was saying, "Oh, I thought I can make it classified just by saying I can make it classified." He does not understand that so much of what he did in that role does not belong to him because he was in that role.
Right.
I don't think he's as dumb. Idiot and are idiots being an idiot and being a dummy the same thing, or are they two different things?
Well, I think he's stupid because I think he's intelligent enough to know buttons to push to get people. He knows where to go to get people to follow him in that sense. But he's not very smart in terms of the amount of things that he's done that are more than a cookie crumb trail right back to him.
I will say he's not presidential. I'll say
and
that.
Yet he was.
And yet he was.
Yeah.
I will say he's clearly not presidential because he's a cynical person and very calculating, and calculating people aren't dummies.
And yet you will see people right now, as he points out all the time, he is currently No, he is not a savant, Rudy. Far from a savant.
Right, exactly.
But yet, he is the front runner of the Republican Party right now.
Yeah.
How do you go figure?
Well,
Try as they
Go
might.
figure.
and
I mean,
they get no press from me. Okay.
Well, he's even beating DeSantis. And DeSantis is out again attacking democracy.
Oh,
He just suspended the Orlando area state attorney. And it's the second time that he suspended someone who has been democratically elected to be a prosecutor. He said that he was removing Monique Worrell of Florida's 9th Judicial Circuit for neglect of duty and incompetence. He also accused her.
That's rich coming from him.
I mean, come on now, right? He also accused her of pursuing lenient sentences and declining to prosecute certain cases. According to him, prosecutors have to prosecute certain charges and to do so based on their duty to enforce the law. And one's political agenda is not supposed to come into play at all. Now, in the past, Worrell said that she was not going to prosecute cases if the evidence of the crime was not provable beyond a reasonable doubt, which is what she's supposed to make sure that she does. Otherwise, she's wasting taxpayer money.
Correct.
In a tweet, she said, "Today we mourn the loss of democracy." She goes, "I'm the duly elected state attorney for the 9th Judicial Circuit. Nothing done by a weak dictator can change that." She says it's an outrage and she's not going to be bullied by DeSantis or be used as a tool in his failing, disastrous presidential campaign.
she said that.
She said that. She went all the way there.
She said that.
Now, DeSantis has appointed Andrew Bain as the new state attorney. And Bain has released a 100-day plan on Thursday that said he wants to restore public trust, law and order, and strengthen the office's relationship with law enforcement.
Okay.
He's a pawn, and DeSantis is using him because he's a black man to say, look, it's not racially motivated.
Absolutely.
I'm going to put someone black in here.
Absolutely.
But he is definitely...
He's a hot mess.
Well, wait a minute. Rodney, let's go to Rodney up here. Because y'all are up here. Rodney said, with all of the evidence that will be presented, we still say, I hope he's convicted. Exactly. I do. And Michelle, Michi, what did Michi say here? The tragedy is even if he is found guilty, he will still be eligible to run for office. Why is there not anything in the Constitution that prevents this?
Because we're supposed to kill seditious traitors. Right. That's the catch-all.
Right. And DeSantis, the only person in there that kind of that scares me is Mitch McConnell. Looking at him just scares me. But DeSantis really scares me.
He does because he's charismatic.
Yeah. My spirit is not good around him at all. I think he is the one that he has the most hate in him to me.
I think it's self-hatred. I personally think that he has something that he is hiding. I'm not going to say what it is.
Rudy is suggesting.
Right. Well, I mean, he's wearing the kitten heels, right?
Okay, wait.
About DeSantis that it just doesn't feel right, and his degree of hatred for certain groups makes me think that he is secretly a black gay man.
Okay, well, I think it's time for some entertainment.
Oh my Lord. Vash, you're on a roll. Why don't you take us right into entertainment? Good Lord.
Well, look, let's talk about another conviction.
That's entertainment.
That's entertainment, all right.
Look, when you see Ron DeSantis at a barbecue wearing the rainbow flag,
and Kitten Hills.
Right. Exactly.
I will be the first to call you and go like, "Oh my God, look who's here!"
Look who's here. So look, rapper Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison on Tuesday for assaulting fellow artist Megan Thee Stallion. Lanez was found guilty of shooting Megan in the foot in July of 2020 as they left a party at the home of celebrity Kylie Jenner. In a written statement, Megan said that she has suffered daily since Lanez shot her. She asked that her absence not be taken as a sign of indifference, and she urged the judge to issue a very stiff sentence. Well, they did. He was found guilty on all 3 charges that the prosecutors brought forward against him: assault with a firearm, illegal possession of a firearm, and negligent discharge of a gun for shooting the victim. Lanes is a Canadian citizen and potentially will be deported back to Canada after he serves his sentence. I hope Megan finds peace, because, you know, it's a drag to be shot in your pinky toe.
Yeah. She also talked about, or she came out and said that she was a victim of domestic abuse also, which she came out and she said that. And so that's something that she had not said during this whole since the incident started. So good for her. Good for her. I'm glad, you know, I'm glad that that's over, because I can't imagine being in a situation where someone shoots me. Anyway.
Yeah, and people need to be held accountable for that kind of behavior. We don't have to agree. We can, in fact, disagree. But to pull out a firearm and shoot somebody like that, and to obviously not even really think that there's any kind of, you know, consequence for it, because he was not. There's no sense that from all that I've heard, that there's any sense of remorse or anything like that around what he did. So,
yeah. And Rodney says, I don't understand all the vitriol towards her. I don't understand either. In doing some of the research, there were accounts that said right after the incident that she said that she had stepped on a piece of glass, or that there were other things, but she kept saying that she didn't feel safe saying what really happened.
Yeah.
And she didn't feel safe with the cops. She had to really just take a moment and then come forward with what happened. And it wasn't like the gun went off and other people didn't see it. So,
well, and you figure if someone has shot you publicly like that, you know, that their likelihood of them retaliating against you for saying something to them, you know, is very real. That is why people often end up remaining in abusive relationships, fearing the retaliation of filing a restraining order or being, you know. And how many women do we know who ultimately still are attacked and sometimes even killed by the very people against whom the restraining order is presented?
Yeah.
And we cannot discount the fact that Megan Thee Stallion, once she was very young, and I mean her career had just took off to a place that she had never seen it before. And, you know, being in her situation and being so, you know, in the public eye, I'm sure she has managers and everybody trying to tell her what your next move should be. And again, she's young. And so I want to see, as this moves about, what was really in her head. You know what I'm saying? Because I think there's more to be revealed about that, you know. I'm glad, again, I'm glad that she's doing well, and she's, you know, her career doesn't seem like it suffered, because she was on Saturday Night Live after she got shot.
She's done quite well. She's done quite well.
She was.
Go ahead, Vash.
No, I was going to say, I want to point out that Judy said, I think that the 10-year sentence was a little harsh. Yeah. People have gotten off with less time for actually killing people. And I agree.
I will not argue that.
Judicial system against Black people.
Yeah.
I will not argue that. I too thought 10 years. That's, you know, but
that was a lot. That's a lot for
that is a lot of time.
Shot. Yeah.
Right. Well,
particularly when you have a former president who inspired an insurrection and he's just walking around
and can become president again.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But they haven't proven that. So
I was watching January 6th.
They haven't proven it. But
they can't figure it out.
Speaking of some additional controversy, though, Usher this week broke his silence about the Keke Palmer concert controversy. You know, I kind of thought it was over, but I guess Usher hadn't said what he had to say. You know what I'm saying?
Well, is there anything he has to say about it?
Well, the singer who he has become more cautious, because he said people were coming at him, so he had to make a statement. And his statement was, every night I'm thinking about how the world is now going to react to this moment that I'll have with whomever I'm choosing to sing with on his show. He further added, it was a pop moment. It was fun to have at least a conversation going, and we just keep it light, adding that he didn't see anything negative happening in Las Vegas. He said, I think everybody's vision or version of what they felt happened there just leads back to just what really having a good time in Vegas is all about. Okay. And he says, you know, that's all he hopes comes out of it, and that people move on. He didn't make mention of, you know, Kiki's baby's daddy or anything like that. He made it all about his show.
Mm.
And the fact that, you know, it was a pop moment and he let it go. And I think that that's all it should have been. But I guess to put some closure on it, he had to say something.
I guess.
So, Usher said it. Okay.
Well, it seems like our singers out here are very much articulating their feelings about a variety of things. I don't know if you two have heard about Neo, whose music I have always appreciated. I got to be upfront with this. I really appreciate his musical talents.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is a bit of a challenge, though, personally. Most recently, he and I want to read this because I want to make sure I get what he was saying. He made a statement in an interview concerning whether or not children, particularly at a young age, could and should be identifying themselves as transgender. How would a parent trust a child to know themselves, et cetera, et cetera? And so he made, so he said the statement on this podcast. And then there were people who not retaliated, but at least responded to it and said, this is very narrow of you. Children do know, et cetera, et cetera. He then issued, or an apology was issued for Neo. Then there were people who kind of came in on him and saying like, oh, you caved because people were challenging you on your opinion. So then Neo comes back out and is like, I'm taking the apology back because that was from a publicist. It wasn't even from me. And so he's saying, that he is, he takes his apology back. In a video shared with Instagram, he is so sick of what people are trying to make him feel sorry about. He said he will not apologize for having his own opinion. He says, I'm entitled to feel how I feel, the same way that you are entitled to feel how you feel. I ain't asked nobody to follow me. I ain't asked nobody to agree with me. I was asked a question and I answered. Neo went on to further dig his heels in on the topic of gender affirming care for minors. While he said he has no beef with queer or trans folks, he will never be okay with allowing a child to make a decision that detrimental to their life, is what he said.
It was
and that word.
It was that word right there that made me not be able to use the words of how I'm really feeling on this show about Neo.
Yeah.
It was that phrase right there. So I that's all I have to say about Neo.
And as he's speaking about decisions that are detrimental to children, he might want to think about the number of children that he has with multiple women, including ones that were born when his wife was about to give birth to their own children, and whether or not he's actually making decisions that would be in the best interest of young children. All of his children. Yeah.
That are not detrimental.
Yeah.
So. It just bums me out that these people are just repeating the garbage that's being fed to drive a wedge between trans people and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like none of these people have trans children. If they did, and they went through the experience of seeing and understanding what a child is going through as they are understanding who they are, there would be a whole lot more compassion. And no one is going out cutting up little kids for gender affirming care. Gender affirming care starts off with conversations and all kinds of things along those lines. And there's such a waiting list before any kind of cutting is going on. What doesn't require a lot of cutting.
You're assuming intelligence. You're assuming informed decision, informed statements. Like he's not doing that.
Right.
Well, I mean, I just wish we stopped giving these people with these ill-informed positions about what sex and gender are and how it manifests.
Well, I don't think anyone's giving Neo. This came from Neo's mouth, so he's a grown man. So this is how he feels. So, and you know what I'm saying? I don't. When you say we stop giving these people, I'm not sure I got that. Neo, this is how he's internalizing it, and
I'm just giving them a platform. Is more or less what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like,
and how he feels. Like he is right. He is entitled to his opinion.
He
is entitled. I mean, and so are racist white people who can say whatever they want and come on. But there is a pushback and an expectation of a certain standard of civility and commitment to knowledge and evolution and
responsibility.
Thought.
Absolutely.
So
He got one time, and I think this will follow him for a minute. I think it will follow him for a minute. And as one other podcast person that I really do follow and like, who read Neo up one wall and down the next, who I'm not going to give, credit to on this show, but I do love this person. He basically said, your career is going nowhere. You're saying things that's basically that, can give you some street cred.
Basically.
And he said, because your career is not going anywhere. So to say something this stupid, and to not really give it thought before you push it out your mouth, when you don't have a hit record anywhere, you haven't had one, and you don't have one coming, you need to be careful.
Bam. All right. Well, we're gonna move on.
One last thing. And I might say that we all know also that it is this very same recording artist whose own sexual orientation has been called into question. So the fact that he is just kind of showing out this way also could very well be in response to accusations about his own sexuality.
He's going to show up with Ron DeSantis at the barbecue.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Really quickly. Wayne Brady has come out as pansexual.
Oh.
That's all I got to say about that.
he's pansexual. Thank you.
Whatever.
That means anybody could be part of his circle now. Okay.
Right.
So
That means he is into anyone, and he gets to connect with people. The cool thing is that he told his wife, who was happy for him because she wants him to be happy.
His former wife.
Well, his former wife, because now he is a single, open-minded pansexual who can be free and open to other people. And he did say in an Instagram post, he goes, "This shouldn't shake anyone's world, but if it bothers you at all, that's your business." He goes, "I was so afraid of having my manhood questioned, but screw that." He goes, "A real man, in my eyes, isn't afraid to be honest and happy. So from now on, I'll be over here living my best life. I love you." So we are wishing Wayne Brady all the happiness and love in the world, and call.
He gets a 3. Vash is like, now that you're out there, give me a ring.
Okay. And in scene. Okay.
In scene.
Okay. And you go. All right.
Okay. So very quickly, as we were talking about some of the news, we also lost a legal and social justice legend recently, Charles Tree Ogletree, Harvard professor and mentor to a number of legal social activists in our country. Charles Ogletree is just known throughout the legal world, respected, has been battling Alzheimer's for several years, and he succumbed most recently this past week at the age of 70. And again, we would be remiss to not mention and speak the name of Charles Ogletree, who is just known for his extraordinary and gifted mind in the legal world, his mentoring many legal minds, including that of the former president, Barack Obama, but also his commitment to social justice. So may he rest in peace. And we thank him for the contributions to our society and for our people. We speak the name Charles Tree Ogletree.
I hope he has a chair and wherever he is now.
You're not gonna take that moment. Nope. I'm not gonna go there. Keep it rolling.
Just let it go. Just let it go.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining the show tonight. It has been so much fun. We really love doing these Let's Get Newsy shows because you guys connect so well with us, and we really do appreciate it. We don't take for granted that you could be out sipping on your own cup somewhere on a Friday night, but you are in here with us, and we do appreciate it. And Rudy, we need to get you back on here, my brother, because
Rudy is like keeping it going.
Okay, we need to get Rudy back on the show because some beauty tips are waiting. But before we do that, let me share with you guys our words of the week. That is, don't ever think you did something wrong by asking to be treated right. All right? Put that in your cup and sip it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you guys do me a favor. Have a great weekend, whatever you do. Be safe. If you're in DC, please come down to the National Book Festival at the Washington Convention
yes.
Center.
Oh, yes.
It should be fun. It should be fun.
Yes. And
It's
wait,
gonna-
I have something to show you guys. Hold on one second. I forgot. Hold on one second.
Is he leaving
guys-
the platform? Ladies and gentlemen.
Start wearing your masks, people.
Yeah.
Start wearing your masks again.
Yes.
COVID is on the rise.
If you come
Yeah.
to the fair, bring your folding.
Because you never know. You never know.
Not at the fair. You will not need that at the fair. You will not need a folding chair at the fair. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a great evening and a great weekend, and we will see you on the next episode of He Said.
He said.
He said.
You guys take care. You a fool, Bobby Edwards.
My God.